bit closer. Bit closer. Closer. Welcome to my new little corner of the workshop. Downstairs where we normally shoot the YouTube videos, we're clearing out, we're having to move around, we're probably going to move everything upstairs. So I'm going to try and set up a little area where I can do some YouTube videos, but this time I need to be working, I need a nice clear space, proper tools, because today we're going to be working on the Focal Utopia, and it's a little bit scary. I don't want to be working it on the YouTube desk downstairs. I need proper tools, proper lighting, fume extractors, everything you want from a proper workshop I would like around me when I'm trying to do something this scary. But yeah, it's a little bit experimental, don't know how it's going to turn out, don't know what the sound's going to be like, might be a little bit echoey in here. Shooting on a different lens, so we've got vintage Russian Zenitar 16mm f2.8 on the Blackmagic camera. It's got an interesting look. It's not the sharpest lens, but it's kind of dreamy in 1970s. Sorry, enough about the technical stuff. But I don't know, so I'm just shooting with one light. We've got some natural light here. Don't know how this video is going to turn out. Oh, this chair's a bit squeaky. I might change the chair. I will change the chair before I shoot the rest of the video. But yes, Focal Utopia, faulty. So let's have a look. Okay, I've got rid of the squeaky chair. Let's get these bad boys open and see if we can figure out what's wrong with them. Oh, look at that. That's when you pay the big money, you get the nice boxes. Let's have a look. So these are the actual jobbies here. Have a quick look at them. So obviously these are beautifully made headphones. I'm really liking the carbon fibre yokes, which is a nice material. You got this, which feels like it's machined possibly. Have to have a look. That might be aluminium. You got laser cut mesh here where you can see through to the driver underneath. Again, this is a metal plate engraved with Focal Utopia with their beryllium driver. So yeah, it's a nice thing. You know, you've got sprung ear cups like we got on the FT1, which I said was quite impressive. And what I find fascinating is this clicking mechanism. I know I always talk about clicking mechanisms, but I don't know, they vary. But this, no ridges here for it to click on. No ridges, I don't know if you can see that, but there's no ridges underneath for it to click on. And listening to it, sounds like the click's coming from around in here. So there must be like a wheel with a clicker on it, possibly, to give you the clicks on the adjustment. Yeah, it's not something I've seen before. Normally you'll have bits scored into here, which a ball will detent over. Yeah, that's nice, nicely machined. Hinges on the side here. This is plastic, but it looks like it's got a conformal coat, so it looks like they've sprayed this with a lacquer to give it that deep lustrous look. And then underneath we've got the Lemo 0B size connector, which again is a lovely push-pull connector used in legit things like F1. Yeah, we need a real nice connection. Yeah, so overall, beautiful thing. Headband, surprised the headband material does not feel that nice. I'd go for a thicker material on the headband, but it looks like it survived, so it can't be that bad. You can see you've got perforations on the pads here, which will be to do with tuning, letting a little bit of air out through the pads. If you close those off, you end up with too much bass probably, so they've opened those out. That will have been a bit of the tuning. Also probably make them feel a little bit more open. So you've got large areas here which are mesh, which will let that sound out and make them feel more open. But yeah, you've also got holes in the pads, so that is quite interesting. If you give me a moment, I'm going to get a multimeter and we'll figure out which side is broken. Right, I've got one of our ultra low capacitance cables here, so it's the only one I could find with Lemo connectors already on, so that side is left. Ooh, satisfying click. And this side is right. Not so satisfying click. You know, there's always a chance it could be the customer's cable or the socket or something easy. You never know. Let's have a go. So on the right hand side, Nothing. On the left hand side, nothing. What am I doing wrong then? This, nothing. Oh, probes weren't plugged in properly. Okay. So let's have a look. So, right hand side. Nothing. Left hand side. 80 ohms, 81 ohms. So, methinks... I don't know which one was I measuring. Oh no, yeah, it's the left hand side. It's the left hand side. Left hand side, nothing. Yeah, so there's no signal going through the left hand side, which is no good. No signal, no good. So, cool. So we know which side is broken. Let's just see if we can bust these bad boys open. Hey, if you like this kind of thing, where you see inside headphones and see how they're designed and stuff, totally subscribe, do the thing. And if you're already subscribed, obviously, thank you very much. But tell your friends to subscribe. Tell people on forums to subscribe. Reddit, whatever. Tell them, subscribe. I need them subscribers. Back to the thing. Alright, so I'm going to try and remove the pads. Oh, they come off nicely. And then underneath, what are we looking at here? We've got, so you can see like a honeycomb mesh there with some acoustic silk underneath. Around the edge, you've got some foam to absorb the stuff spilling out over the edge, which is a nice little touch. And then again, you've got some acoustic silk in here, making them sound more open. We've got an angled driver, which often helps with sound staging. Let's get these open. So it looks like... ooh, there we go. One, two, three batty bats, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Right, so there's our 6 screws. Put those somewhere safe. Now, are you ready for the money shot? Ooh, ooh. Okay, so inside. I have to investigate to see if that's metal or not. But yeah, so that's the back end of the Lemo connector there. And it's going onto this driver, which looks absolutely nothing like any other headphone driver I've seen. It's crazy. So let's have a look. First of all, I'm going to test the connections here just to see if it is just the socket. And I'm getting nothing on there. So yeah, so we've got, it's not the cable, it's not the socket, it's the driver. So we have two possibilities. One is that the voice coil wire inside has snapped. So there's essentially a voice coil of wire, and then some very thin leads that come off that to the solder points here. And what can happen is that as the driver's moving in and out constantly, it's constantly bending these little wires, and eventually they can just get brittle and break, which should be fixable just about, as long as we're very careful. The other option is that an amplifier or something has clipped and sent far too much power to one of these drivers, which has melted the voice coil and, you know, broken the voice coil, in which case it's not going to be quite so fixable. Certainly it'll never be quite the same again. You'll have to rewind the voice coil, and it just won't ever be the same again. So let's hope that it's fixable. Right, okay, so now I've done the slightly scary job of unsoldering it. Let's have a look at the actual anatomy of a driver from a £5,000 pair of headphones, or £4,600 pair of headphones. So, as you can see, beautifully made, as you'd expect. What is unusual that I'm noticing is that this large assembly here, which is the magnet for the driver, is a separate unit, so you can see it's held on with 3 screws around the edge here. Also noticing this rounded over port here, and this is also rounded off, and this shape is very similar to what we did on the back of the HD 600 to smooth out the airflow going into the back of the driver, which is where we got a lot of the gains from that. So I know that that is a good thing. But yeah, it's really unusual. Look, you can see magnets arranged, very powerful magnets arranged all around the edge here, probably inside some kind of Halbeck array or something. I don't know, but yes, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual magnets rather than one large ring magnet. Well, they actually remind me of like range control car motor magnets, like those curved neo magnets that you put in those. I don't know if you've ever built an RC car motor, but that's the kind of magnets you'd expect to see in there. What I'm hoping is that we can remove this magnetic assembly, and then underneath it will reveal the voice coil, and if that is broken, that will be fixable. If I can see a broken wire under there, we should be able to fix that somehow. But if not, might have to get a little bit more dangerous. But you know, it's broken already, so what can you do? So these are T10 screws. I've got a nice Wera T10 screwdriver. It's always nice to work with a nice screwdriver. If I just loosen those first, and then I'm going to hold on to the screw while I undo it, because you don't want the screw getting sucked into the magnet. That could possibly be dangerous. Just undo that. One screw, and by the looks of it, we've got little Teflon washers or something under there, which will probably help stop it from rattling if one of those screws comes a little bit loose. And I can also see that we've got brass inserts in there, which the screws screw into, which is nice. Like, I know that this is a £5,000 pair of headphones, and you expect that kind of thing, but yes, it's nice to see that they have actually got brass inserts, so the threads are legit. It's not just screwed into plastic. You know, they're not self-tappers or anything. Right. Yeah, this is looking pretty legit, but you know, again, the money, man. Don't know, it's a huge amount of extra money for 50% more goodness, maybe. But yeah, these are beautifully built, and if I had made a pair of headphones like this, I'd be very proud, right? This is that bit like when you see that when they're defusing nuclear bombs and they have to very carefully lift the thing out straight, even though it's probably going to try and twitch on them. There we go. So that's inside. Here you can see you've got the voice coil. If I just tilt that up a little bit. There we go. So it looks like you've got the voice coil, which will be kind of enameled together in there, and then that's just connected directly to the beryllium diaphragm that's in there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. This is the actual magnetic assembly, and inside you can see the back of the magnets there, and it might have a ring magnet as well as those magnets. Those might be there'll be some kind of magnetic circuit probably, which I'm not that good at, but there you go. You can see the rounded over shape of this thing there. Yeah, and it's quite weighty as well, so that's going to give the driver something to really push against, give you nice, accurate, detailed bass, again, as you'd expect for 5Gs. Yes, so there you go. That's what it's like inside the Focal Utopia driver. Now I'm going to have to try and perform open heart surgery. The bad news is I don't know if you can see on the camera, but I can see from here that the voice coil wires do not look broken. The little thin ones that go from the pads to the voice coil, they look intact all the way along, unless there's a break underneath this black goop that they put on as a bit of strain relief. But that's the place it's least likely to break, I would have thought. So this might have had it. I don't know. So I'm going to have to email the customer now and let them know that we're getting into a level where it could get a little bit scary. I'm sure they'll be fine with it as this driver's already busted, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all this black goop, unsolder the voice coil wire, see if I can scrape off a little bit of the enamel further down, and just get a multimeter on there, test to see if there is continuity in the actual voice coil. But if a ring of the voice coil has died, then I don't think that that's going to be fixable, unfortunately. There's no easy fix for that. You know, you have to, unless we can maybe replace the voice coil, but again, it's never going to be the same again. You know, you're going to have a slightly fudged together pair of focal utopias after that. So it might be a case of new drivers. I don't know. But yeah, leave it with me. I'm going to have a further play with them. Okay, so here we have a nice close-up. You can see I'm trying to just gently peel back that weird black rubbery schmoo from the solder joint to see if it's broken underneath. Here I'm using some micro manipulators. They look like gigantic manipulators in this shot, but they are tiny little micro manipulators, just to pull that back. And then here's the other side, just removing the schmoo. It's just being very careful. You know, if it's not broken already, I don't want to break it. It's just being as careful as I can. Just want to kind of pull that off and then try and remove a little bit more off there. Again, super delicate. You can see the driver moving in the background just from the wire moving. And then here I can't quite get it. Yeah, there you go. Just managed to get a little flap up there that I can get hold of with the micro manipulators. It's just super scary, delicate work. Just peel that back and you can see I get it back far enough so that you can see that there's no break under there. The break was the other side. It was under the schmoo. I can't believe it. It's like the least likely place to break. So there we have the end of the broken voice coil wire, and that'll have an enamel over it, so it needs to have a bit of solder put on it first, just to kind of melt that away. I'm using a scalpel there to support it, and you can see the millimeter markings on that, so you can see how small we're looking and how shaky the end of that soldering iron looks when you're that close. Here I'm just adding a bit of new fresh solder onto the solder pad, onto the original solder pad. And then I'm going to add in a little bodge wire, which will get a solder point a bit closer because the original wire broke. I'm just bringing that a bit closer so that it's not stretched out too much. And then I'm going to solder the voice coil wire onto the end of that little short run of wire there. Just kind of bending it into shape so that it's got enough room but it doesn't hit against the driver, because otherwise that'll make a buzzing sound at higher volumes. Not a great shot there, but what are you going to do? Anyway, there you go. That's all soldered on. And now just for the final test, let's get the multimeter on there. Boom, we have continuity and an alive driver winning at life. Job's good. So there we go, a very beautiful and expensive pair of headphones, saved from death by a little bodge wire. It's crazy that the wire broke underneath the strain relief. That's the part that's not supposed to break. So I'm glad I carried on with the job. I was going to give up at that point, but no. Yes. So we have saved them. I've plugged in our cable, had a quick listen. They sound pretty amazing. I really like them. I know that, £4,600, they should sound pretty good, but I really like these. These are my jam. I like them. It's like these and what are the other ones? The Abyss 1266 or whatever they're called, the stupid Abyss ones. I had a listen to those and I thought, yeah, they sound about right. And these sound about right. Nearly every other headphone I listen to, I go, something a bit wrong there, something not quite right, something needs tweaking. Whereas those, they're pretty, I would do nothing with those. Those are great. Really like the sound of those. And it was very interesting getting to look inside them. These are built in a very different way from nearly every other headphone that I've pulled apart. But yeah, I haven't had any focals apart. I did have a quick look online, and other focals are built the same way. So yeah, it's an unusual driver assembly with the magnet screwed on. Normally it's kind of a sealed unit, which is nice. It made it more repairable. So I give them props for that. These are a more repairable headphone than many. Yeah, so I hope you found that interesting. I certainly did. It was a little bit scary, as these cost sort of twice as much as my car. But yeah, it all turned out okay in the end. So, thank you very much for joining me on this scary journey, and I will see you guys again.